How's everyone doing? Can we give a quick round of applause to Garrett, please, for being so amazing? Is he not the coolest? All right. So today, Jared will actually be on stage in about 15 minutes, and then we'll chat through Gooder and all of the fun stuff that he does. So just to give you a brief overview on how today's session will run today, first I'll go through a refreshing guide on how to hit refresh on your messaging strategy. Then the lovely Jared Graurock from Gooder Sunglasses will join me up on stage here, and we'll talk about their experience with SMS on Attentive. And then we will have a bit of a live Q&A to finish out today's session. So any questions that you do have that arise during this presentation, I request that you save them for then, and we will happily get them answered. So to start off with a prompt for today, how many marketers sitting here today in this room see the impact that SMS has on their business, but aren't necessarily super confident that you're using it to its full potential? Okay, we're not alone. I'm glad I still have a job for the next 40 minutes. Great. So with that, I'm going to take you through today 4 refreshing messaging strategies to ensure that you are continuously using SMS to its full potential. The 4 strategies today will be experience, personalization, engagement, and then, of course, we had to say it, attentiveness. So first, let's talk about experience and how to differentiate yourself in your subscribers' inbox. So with SMS, first impressions are truly absolutely everything. The way that you engage with your subscribers from the beginning really helps set the tone for the rest of your relationship. So with that, do be sure to establish welcoming niceties with your subscribers that really complement the organically personalized nature of SMS. So some examples and tools to leverage here that really commit to that will be using things like preference collection within your sign-up units or within welcome messages. This can really be anything from asking for birthdays to style preferences to whatever other mutually beneficial information you want to know about your subscribers. And then a pro tip for today is do also consider sending a contact card out to your subscribers to become a friendly and known number in your subscribers' inbox. Text messages are prime real estate. You are not just competing with other brands in their inbox, you're also in a friendly competition with your subscribers' personal contacts as well. So how do you really make the most of every message that you do send to your subscribers? Consider using tools or tips like emojis for key brand themes, highlighting holidays, eliciting emotion, or even spotlighting new product launches and releases. Create a sense of emphasis with all caps to emphasize excitement, create a clear call to action, and obviously set a sense of urgency. And then keep it casual where appropriate using abbreviations. So with this being said, do always be mindful of continuously testing while being considering your brand's personal voice and tone and what your subscribers might be used to or expecting. And then a pro tip here is consider using 75 to about 225 characters, which is about 3 to 4 lines of text to elicit just visual stimulation and creativity and excitement from your customers. So SMS, consider within SMS to be more than just a friend with benefits. I don't think there's anyone else sitting in this room who can say, I don't love being sent a good coupon. That being said, non-promotional content is also a huge part of building community and really helps brands to validate the price and quality of the products that you sell. So some of the ways that you can elicit and promote your brand through non-promotional text messaging is sharing some quick tips or announcements about upcoming company influences or initiatives, or asking questions to help find what they're looking for when they're shopping on your site. A pro tip for here is use media such as imagery, videos, or GIFs to tie in your personality and drive engagement. Test these, iterate upon them to whatever extent you feel comfortable with, and see how it changes with your subscribers' engagement. So now that we've learned a little bit about experience and how to differentiate yourself in your subscribers' inbox, let's move into the second refreshing messaging strategy of personalization and making sure you're connecting even further with your subscribers using impactful messages. So consider using segmentation to identify different target audiences to send curated and relevant messages to. So the 3 examples we have here of brands that do just that is closest to me here, you'll see ABC Carpet and Home use geolocation segmentation to announce a new store opening to those around the area in the Brooklyn area in their stores. Jones Road Beauty sent a product recommendation based on a subscriber's previous purchase or a cross-sell opportunity. And then Figs did a great job of sending a product announcement or a product launch to subscribers who had previously viewed menswear pages or had elicited or inputted a specific male gender preference for their style. Indulge them with two-way automation, so the automated portion of this. You're also able to use segments to identify the subscribers who want to engage more with your brand without fatiguing the ones that don't. So again, 3 really, really great examples of brands who have done just this are Revel Nail, who gives a prompt to an option to join a segment specific to their Black Friday, Cyber Monday initiatives. We have Whirly Pop, who is driving repeat purchases by asking when customers would like to be notified about buying more popcorn so they don't run out. And then Groove Life used a text-to-keyword journey to prompt subscribers to join a scavenger hunt and quiz with the promise of unlocking a special promo for St. Patrick's Day. And then ending off this section with a pro tip, consider using line breaks and to increase your text readability and not potentially overwhelm your subscribers from a visual standpoint. It will only be 1 character. So there are numerous ways brands can segment their audiences to make sure that their messages are targeted, relevant, and personalized in nature. I'll pose this as a question. Can anyone yell out a number, let's say, of the average amount of segments a customer will use within their SMS program? Any number. 10, 12, 25, 130? I like that. Whoever said that, I like that. The answer is 34. It's an average of 34 segments. So there's a ton of different variations within segmentation you can leverage, which obviously gives a lot of flexibility for testing, iterating, and really getting to know your audience as they evolve. So then moving into our 3rd refreshing messaging strategy for today, which is engagement. Now, people who ghost you in your personal life are usually never really worth it, because we give dating advice sometimes at Attentive. But in SMS marketing, they are completely, absolutely, definitely worth reviving. So first you have to identify which type of ghost are you dealing with. Is it the cart or browse abandoner ghoster who has some commitment issues? Is it a one-time purchaser ghost who gets what they needed and then bounce? Or is it a non-engager ghost who completely forgot why or how they got here in the first place? So each of these 3 ghosters do have proven messaging tactics behind them and that are ensured to, let's say, bring them back to life, to stick with the theme. So consider asking them different forms of what's up to make them click. So in these 3 examples as well, of brands that have done just that in 3 very unique different ways. In terms of the cart or browse abandoner ghoster, did the commitment phobe leave something in their cart? Gooder, who we have here and who will be joining us on stage shortly, has very zero shame in terms of calling them out to getting them to drive back to site to purchase. If you haven't checked in on your one-time purchasers in a while, Bliss sends them a friendly nudge to make sure they aren't running out of product. And then for the presumably absolutely clueless non-engager, Hot Topic will send a coupon to jog their memory a little bit. And last but certainly not least, our 4th refreshing messaging strategy for today. You can pretty much implement everything we've gone over today, but it won't necessarily continue being meaningful if you aren't being attentive and hitting that refresh button often. So text messaging in its nature is really not a one-size-fits-all program. Do continuously consider how you can refresh your messaging strategy often, whether it's on a monthly basis, quarterly basis. Are you a seasonal brand? Do you have in-store presence? Are you online only? How does that dictate your testing strategies? Also consider automating what you can. Within campaigns, we have functionality like auto winners, which will create actionable optimizations when sending out campaign tests or A/B tests, let's say, for campaign messages. And also set up journeys, things like join to segment, text to keyword, cart abandonment, browse abandonment messages. These are based on behavioral events from customers that will easily generate revenue and are easily testable and iterable in and of themselves. And then tap in your relationships using zero-party data. So these are the quizzes, these are the questions and preference collections that you ask your customers. Continuously leverage those types of information to then help dictate how you want to segment and customize your messaging strategy in the future. And then the pro tip for here, if you want to learn more, sorry, can't see it, join the breakout session tomorrow of Make Every Message Count. Tap into your data tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. if you want to learn more about that. All right, well, I am done pontificating at you today. So now for the second session of today's session, I will be joined by Jared Grawrock, who is the Director of Digital Marketing at Gooder, to hear about how they've tapped into their cheeky brand voice to turn SMS into a multi-purposed marketing channel, driving revenue, engagement, and supporting expansion efforts. And now I get to pull out my cards. Yes. Hi, Jared. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am well.
Good.
I'm better now that you're here.
Oh, thank you.
All right. So, who are these motherflockers? So, why don't you tell us a little bit about Gooder and your role?
Yeah, so I'll condense the story. Basically, in 2015, our CEO started the company Gooder, Gooder Sunglasses. He found a problem within the running space where he would look at himself training for marathons, running for marathons, and he would get to the starting line and see himself like geared up in all this, like the gel packs, the armbands, and this and that. And he would ask around, and most everybody around him would be wearing like gas station sunglasses. Instead of the very expensive sunglasses. So he basically found a hole in the market, and we've now created a space for $25 sunglasses that are no slip, no bounce, all polarized, and all fun, which is leaning very much into our brand.
I totally agree with that, as someone who owns Gooder sunglasses myself.
Thank you so much.
And so you've been on Attentive for about a year now. Yeah. How would you compare your SMS strategy now versus when you started using SMS?
Yeah, so Gooder as a company basically started out, and we, for the longest time, have leaned into a launch strategy where we would launch a pair of sunglasses and then another pair of sunglasses. And our SMS basically followed that strategy, where whatever we would launch, we would just then drop an SMS. And that kind of continued for the longest time. And one of my former colleagues basically started creating the foundation of moving away from launching and then moving towards a much more targeted, a higher caliber of strategy in terms of messaging out to people, utilizing segments, A/B testing, basically taking away or adding to our launch schedule, launching and highlighting some of our other products that we may kind of leave in the foreground after a launch took place. So it's gradually changing, and we're moving away from just saying, here's another pair of sunglasses, to leaning into one of my favorite ones that we just did was, it's Sunday Fun Day. You're spending Sunday Fun Day with your besties. Here are some of our besties. And we linked them straight to our best sellers. So it's just kind of playing into that and highlighting some of the products that we have always, instead of just a launch brand.
A good example of non-promotional messaging, if you will.
Exactly, yes.
So can you tell us more about how you build out these different campaigns?
Yeah, so obviously when we launch a new product, we build out a campaign around that launch. And that's, top to bottom, the whole team looks at it and we decide when, where, who, and why we're gonna send something out. But outside of that, we get together and we create our own promos, and we get the freedom to really lean into whatever we want to do. For example, we have a Valentine's Day promo coming up, and the team is really pushing me to send out a "Are you up?" text at 2 a.m. But that's kind of one of those things, is like we have that freedom to kind of, our brand and our fans have really appreciated that. And that's something that we kind of talk about and strategize. We have a Slack thread that can sometimes go like 20, 30 deep in just conversation. Like someone will say, like, here's the copy I believe should be set up for our campaign, and we'll just like add on and add on, add on and add on. There's puns, there's sometimes inappropriate, some bending the line of just whatever we want to get out there, and the best one wins, and that's the one that goes out the door.
Refreshing.
Yes, very much.
So let's talk a little bit about your branding. So where does that brand voice come from? And I know we've talked a little bit about it off stage.
Yes.
And how do you tap into it?
So if anybody's ever interacted with our brand, our copy is incredible, and we owe that a lot to our copy team that's really, really strong. They write a lot of our emails, they write a lot of our website content. But one of the best things about our company is that we take a class, we call it the Gooderification Congregation, where we basically sit with our copywriters and they teach us our brand voice. They teach us, here's the channel you could use this, here's the channel you could use this, and this is what this looks like. So we're all graduates of that class, and that then allows us to lean into our brand voice in whatever we do. So like we said, like we could send a "Are you up?" text at 2 a.m. Like I said, the rest of the team is really pushing that, and I gotta say, Greg, our CSM, I keep hearing best practices. Don't send at 2 a.m. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's one of those things, is that, the Sunday Fun Day bestie. We talk about, sometimes we talk a little bit about drinking and being irreverent, and it's just, we get to lean into that copy quite a bit. So we're very thankful for our copy, but we're also grateful that we're also to use that voice and shoot that out the door in everything we do.
I want to take that course.
I can actually send you I can get you in. Do you want to get in?
Yeah, I would love
yeah.
that.
For sure. I have an in.
You heard it here first. Amazing. Okay. Well, you have a campaign. You have a campaign. You decided on the copy. You start sending out the message.
Yeah.
Then what?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there's a lot of then whats. Obviously, we're looking at revenue first. I mean, selfishly, we're like, oh, did this make a lot of money? But in the grand scheme of things, what we really want to do is look at a lot of the analytics and see what is performing well, and then start benchmarking some of those. Sometimes with our launch products, it's kind of what I just said. We send it out the door and let it go. But sometimes with some other of our campaigns, we're really interested in the testing and the data that we get back. We do a lot of A/B testing. We do a lot of segment testing. One of our more successful campaigns this year was our Labor Day weekend. We did a 4-day text messaging campaign. Each day had a different promotion, and each day had a different image, and it performed incredibly well. It was one of our highest revenue weekends for the entire year. We then took that and then started adding more and more images to our SMS. And we saw that some of the conversions were starting to go down. So we had to, and we are in the process of looking at, like, are they gravitating towards generic images that we just sent out, or are they gravitating towards, like, they see the sunglasses, so maybe they don't like the sunglasses, so they don't convert there. So we're in the process of looking at that data and continually to reevaluate, like, maybe they just like a couple lines of copy. Maybe they like a GIF or GIF. I say both. Maybe they like, maybe it's just the straight up link. So we're very much into leaning and learning about every single text message that goes out the door. Rarely does one go out the door that we just kind of like, hey, congrats to us, we sent out the text message this week. It's very much a piece of a larger conversation every time we send out an SMS.
I agree with that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're actually going to pivot to talk about a campaign that performed really, really well for you, and I personally love this myself. So first, I want to hear what advice you would give to brands who see the potential in SMS but know they could do more.
That's a really, really great question, and I think SMS has a lot of power because, as we all know, SMS is directly, it's in everybody's hands. It's right there. But that being said, SMS is a very personal thing. Text messaging is very personal. You text your mom, you text your dad, your friends, your group chats, and those messages, that usage is very personal to somebody. So sometimes you have to be very careful about being invasive. So my suggestion, what we try to do is be very, very authentic and very targeted about every time we send out an SMS. So it's not like we are just sending generic messaging. Rarely do we message our entire platform all at once. We try to make sure that when they receive a message, it's a very targeted message to them so that it kind of continues on that personability to then they can interact with our brand. And we don't feel it's like a brand talking to them. We feel like it's an interaction with our brand. So that's kind of my suggestion. You kind of have to dive in with both feet. You can't you can't set a message and set it and let it go. There's so many pieces to it. So my overall suggestion is if you're going to do SMS, make sure you are dedicated to all the pieces of it, which is setup, execution, data, and then kind of repeating that. You've got to go full bore.
And so why don't you talk to us about the You Found Carl campaign?
Yeah.
How special that was.
You Found Carl is one of my favorite campaigns. We are lucky enough to have a retail store on Abbot Kinney. If you've ever been to LA, it's a very, very popular street where there are a lot of shops. And we have what we call the Cabana. And as you can see, it's a very Instagrammable shop. And we kind of realized that when someone would go and buy something, we weren't necessarily capturing that first-party data. And so through a lot of different iterations, we came up with this campaign called You Found Carl. And You Found Carl is, you can't see it in the image, but it's a QR code that's hidden next to a mirror because we're assuming that someone's going to grab their phone, take a picture, and if they have their phone in their hand, then they're going to scan that QR code. Once they scan that QR code, it obviously encourages them to sign up, and once they give us their phone number, they get 10% off 2 pair or more sunglasses within the Cabana. And so it was just this really cheeky way to kind of it's not hidden, but we don't talk about it at all. So when you find it, it's kind of like this little bit of surprise and delight. And we get the first party data. They get 10% off 2 pair of sunglasses or more. And it's been incredible. As you see, we've seen a 9% increase in our AOV at the store alone. And we continue to see the QR codes skyrocket. So it's just been a really, really fun campaign that grew out of just one simple idea. And I think people gravitate towards it.
Amazing.
Thank you.
And these stats are very impressive for what that is, knowing that it's very much not an in-your-face.
Yeah, and I think
sign up.
that's what's impressive is that we don't talk about it. Like outside of the people who know who created it, there are probably some people in the company who have no idea that it's there, and that's one of the funnest things. That like we know it's working because we can see some of our stats sitting right here, but we also know from a revenue standpoint that it's working. We've seen the increase there, and it's just. Like I said, it's another way for us to utilize a channel in a way that I don't think people would think about doing it. It's like, hey, are you just giving this energy to something without talking about it? And I think sometimes a lot of brands could sometimes benefit from that.
And remind me, how long has this been? Is this still active?
Still active. It's going to be continually active for the foreseeable future, and we just started it in June. June 1 was its initial launch. And I say launch because we didn't talk about it. It just showed up at the Cabana one day.
And you have another one that's coming out, right?
We did the New York pop-up.
Yes.
The New York pop-up was, we ran a awareness campaign for Gooder. We still strive to be, one of our chief marketing officers, basically, he wants his mom to stop texting him when she sees Gooder ads. Like, hey, I just saw your sunglasses. He wants his mom to like stop. So one of our goals is to make sure like we advertise and we get Gooder to be a much more household name. And so we did this awareness campaign, and one of the things that we did was we took over a corner block here in New York, and we just set up basically a pop-up shop that looked very much like the Cabana that you see here, a lot of the florals and the pinks and a lot of the aesthetics, and we gave away sunglasses and partnered with a couple of other brands. But one of the only ways you could get in was if you gave us your phone number. We collected SMS and we added them to our list. From there, we took it upon ourselves to then create journeys from that experience. So basically, if you lived in the New York area, we had follow-up messages that still followed them in the New York area. If you didn't live in the New York area, if let's say you were a tourist visiting New York and you just stopped by, then you got a different journey. But long and short of it, we continued that journey through the process of experiencing our brand as a pop-up and then continuing that relationship with the customer through SMS.
So another amazing way of using geolocation
Yeah.
to engage with certain subscriber audiences.
Exactly, and it was geo gated. It was gated just to New York, so you couldn't be in New Hampshire or Connecticut and join in and get the benefits of the pop-up. So yeah, we do that a lot, especially with the Cabana, because it is another. It's an LA experience. Same thing with the journeys there. If you came in as a tourist. You then get a follow-up to go back to our website and you get free shipping. If not, we encourage you to visit the website through a different journey. But I think it's one of those setups that you're always thinking start to finish about how someone's going to sign up, how that experience continues going forward. I don't think, we have very rare instances where someone signs up and that's it with our SMS, with Thread, with Attentive. We basically think about that process of, I've signed up, now what's that journey look like through the customer experience?
Amazing. And so is there another piece of advice that you would give to everyone in this room about maybe what you're testing in the future with your SMS program?
Wow. I mean, I'm kind of one of those data nerds, and I'm like, test everything you possibly can, and just dive in and figure out what works and what doesn't work. But one of the biggest pieces of advice is really just be authentic. Whatever your brand voice is, be authentic to that brand voice, because your customers will gravitate towards that and respect that more than if they feel like if you're using short code or if you're using terminology that might be too youthful or too old on both ends of the spectrum. You want to walk that fine line, but making sure that you're honed in on exactly what resonates with your audience is where you get that data from. Is like, hey, if we send out text A and text B and a whole bunch of conversions came from text A, start leaning into that as your brand voice. But it's always that learning piece that I feel is what makes you better as a brand and what makes your outreach and conversational SMS better.
So would you say that you should continuously hit refresh on your messaging strategy?
I think, yes, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And I also think that just basically, you should always be reevaluating what's working and what's not working. When you rest on your laurels and when you say that this works and this is always going to work, I think you set yourself up as a disadvantage. But if you're willing to put in the time and the effort and continue to ask, like, why is this working? I know sometimes that's hard because, like, hey, it's working. Like, just let it go. Reap the benefits. We're in the process of redoing all of our journeys because they're working, but are they working the best they possibly can? Some are, some are not. And so that's kind of one of those things is if you're continually asking yourself, are these working the best they possibly can? Is this the best possible way we can do this? I think your messaging strategy is always going to be refreshed.
Well, that is extremely well said. Well, thank you so much, Jared, for joining us on stage. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed it. Was that informative? Okay, so we have about 12-ish minutes for QA. So if you have questions, please, we would love to hear them and give you our 2 cents, whether it's from Jared or myself. So please.
Yeah.
The question was, how large is Jared's SMS team?
I mean, our whole team is 5 people total for our entire digital SMS, email, web. Yeah, it's 5 people.
It's a lot of slacks.
It's a lot of slack. Sometimes things get out of hand, I'm not going to lie.
Hi, yes.
How you doing? I got a question. So say I go on your store, I make a purchase, right? You have my contact information, but you don't have my phone number. And say I go in store and I give you my SMS through the pop-up. How do you merge those contacts so I don't have like Ryan 1 text, Ryan, buyer email information? You're able to merge those together?
Yeah, luckily enough, we run through Shopify, and so Attentive runs through Shopify as well, and we basically can merge those and connect those dots between if you sign up in the store or if you sign up online. Ideally, they merge. Obviously, sometimes things can fall through the cracks just because of how you sign up and where you sign up, but for the most part, the integration between Shopify, Klaviyo is our email, and that first-party data is how we do that the best possible way we can.
Hi. What's your best performing journey besides an abandoner journey?
Wow. Our best performing journey is, I believe it is, I'm going to have to think about this. We have some Instagram landing pages that we've created that if you come to, we have some vertical specific landing pages because of the start. We have a run by Beast, which is CrossFit. Our run vertical landing page is probably one of our better converting journeys. So they come to Instagram, they sign up, and then they go through the process and get that journey, and that's probably our best performing journey.
Do you give a specific discount for that journey?
Here's the great thing. Here's one of the challenging things is because of our $25 price point, we rarely discount anything. So we lean into a lot of free ships, and that is, or we do bundles like the AOV. The 10% at the Cabana is one of our. It's still not discounted because you can just get it is discounted. Sorry, you get 10% off of two glasses to help with that. But we don't typically discount any of our products, so we rely on that price point in the messaging to really do the legwork for us. But that also presents a lot of challenges because we sometimes feel like we're behind the 8 ball a little bit in terms of everyone else gets to offer a discount. But if we offer our discount on our glasses too much, we're obviously cutting into our margins and we're doing ourselves a disservice. So that's kind of where we feel a little bit challenged, but that's our way of thinking.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So you said to continuously check in on your tests and recheck them. How often do you think I should go test again to reevaluate what I'm doing?
Yeah, so the question was, how often or how far back should you, or what's the cadence on looking back and testing? And that is I think for us, it depends on what your goal is. If you're just looking at signups, you obviously want to give that test and that journey time to flourish and time to capture. I'm going to throw out some numbers, and they work for us, but they may not work for you. For us, it's like we look every 3 months at a journey. We look at every huge benchmark. Obviously, Black Friday, Cyber Monday is coming up. We're going to do a whole slew of looking back at what worked and what didn't work during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, a lot shorter in that period. We're going to probably look a week to 2 to 3 weeks right after that to make sure what's working, what doesn't. There's some things that you want to give like a whole entire year. If you just start something fresh, we will give it some time to benchmark, because this is like, hey, this is the first time we're testing. This is the first time we're looking at this, so let's benchmark all of this first, and then we'll go back and look at that. So short answer, it depends. Long answer is what I just said.
How do you think about revenue attribution to SMS? Like there's a user on the site who may have anyway bought, now you send them a journey, like they can do a welcome journey, let's say, and you get an SMS and then you click on the link and then buys. Do you take into account any sort of cannibalization there, which might have happened because it was already going to buy, but now the SMS and what's back? Do you do a revenue attribution on SMS strategy specifically? Do you take 50% or do you take 40% of that revenue which gets generated from welcome journey, or 80% from the welcome journey?
So, I mean, we think about it in terms of, yes, again, short answer, yes, we look at all of that, and we definitely don't want to try to cannibalize too many signups. And obviously, I think as we all know, as digital marketers, everyone who comes to a website is now bombarded with pop-ups and chatbots and signups. And so what we do in that particular instance is making sure that we're looking at how each of the journeys convert. And we don't necessarily rely on that first touch point to be a revenue driver. So we're not necessarily paying attention to that as much. We're definitely we're paying a lot more attention to that conversion of said sign up. So does that answer your question at all? Like, we're in that initial touch point, the conversion and that acquisition of that first party data is what our conversion and our attempt is for that. And then we look at the revenue through that channel or through that sign up, secondary. So it's how they come in. Once you have them, where are they converting along that journey, along that process? And email and SMS are the two signups for us on our website. So that's how we look at that from the revenue standpoint of those two touch points.
Hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm here from Grunt Style. And my question has to do with kind of reactivation. Really, like, aside from like promotions and coupon codes and stuff like that, how do you kind of re-engage with customers who like don't really engage as much anymore, don't click, haven't bought or purchased and stuff like that? Like, aside from promos and discounts, what are some good ideas that you do to kind of spark that connection again with those consumers?
Yeah, I mean, one of our two of our segments that we use most often are 1 year no purchase and 6 months no purchase. And we don't use them at the same time. We use them sporadically. But basically that tells us that they haven't been to the website or they haven't purchased on the website for a year or 6 months, right? So long and short of that is everything they see on the website, if they come to the website tomorrow, is brand new to them. So crafting messaging around this could be new to you, this is new, we released this, is a way to drive them back to the website. And again, you're still hopeful for that conversion. And then also tagging them into different types of segments. So if we've seen that they came a year ago and they bought some of our limited edition sunglasses, we might want to create that segment a year ago, limited edition views, and then drive them to what's been brand new on the website, because we already know that they like some of our limited sunglasses instead of what's our inline sunglasses. So basically creating newness around people who haven't been to your site or haven't purchased for a while can often drive revenue. And because, like you said, if they've never seen it before, it's brand new to them.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Does anyone want to be brave and just have like one more question?
Oh, here we go.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for the talk today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It was really cool just to hear the different ways that you guys are leveraging SMS, and I'm kind of curious, like, what do you see next? For you guys over the next sort of going through to obviously this Q4, but next Q4 and the Q4 after.
Yeah.
Like, how are you guys going to evolve?
Yeah, one of the things we're really excited for, and they talked about it on the roadmap, is we're really excited for text to buy. We really feel like, especially with our price point, that's going to be a really huge piece of our next SMS journey and evolution. Because, again, $25 sunglasses are a great sell piece, but then you can just buy it right from your phone. We think that's going to be a huge opportunity for us, and that's what we're looking forward to. Just making sure that we're always being authentic with our SMS and continuing that and continue to evolve however SMS does is key for us and what we're looking forward to.